Hi Gemini, welcome to your end of June 2022 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So I wanted to do this reading for the solstice. I was going to say summer solstice, but I have to be careful because it's not summer everywhere. But the solstice, which is happening on the 21st of June this year, I think probably everywhere in the world, but I could be wrong. And it is a time of change. You think of it as a change of seasons. It's a change in the sun going into a cardinal sign, and the cardinal signs really herald action and things happening, things popping. And I have this train popping out there, so you might hear that, but it's all good. So let's see what this time of change in the last half of June will bring for Gemini people. Happy birthday to those of you who are born right around this solstice time. I wasn't even paying attention. The first card I got was the Eight of Wands, which is about that kind of springing into action. After the rest. Four of Swords. Oh, that's very interesting. I'll pick an additional card. Okay. So, measuring your success in a different way. Maybe you're looking for something on the outside to be really impressive if you've been working on a project. Heart of the matter, Eight of Wands. This is really having a lot of things thrown at you, offers or like especially with offers or messages. And we are coming, that's another thing too, as I record this, I'm recording this on the 17th of June. So this is smack dab in the middle of the month. And this is when Mercury's coming out of its shadow. Mercury is your ruler. So you may have witnessed this in your own life, that there was that lull in the action, which the Four of Swords can represent. But this is more intentional. This is more about you taking that time of reflection. What I have found with Mercury retrograde in my own life and how it has impacted me, this time for sure, but even in past experiences and other retrogrades, and this is what they always say, but I can personally vouch for this, is that sometimes progress in the outer world is impeded upon. So you're trying to make something happen and it doesn't happen, and it forces you to go within. It's not like you're just doing so willingly. You're you're being dragged kicking and screaming, really, at least in my case. And it isn't because, it has nothing to do with how spiritual somebody is. It has to do with, especially when we're talking about career matters, and the wands can relate to career matters, the ambition, our own personal drive and desire for, well, I was going to say recognition, but that sounded very egotistical. I didn't mean it like that. I meant being recognized for our talents. I don't think that's egotistical. I think that it enhances, it's not about validation or anything like that. It's upholding what we are, what we came here to do, and being recognized by other people in that regard is life affirming, I think. I think it goes beyond just the ego needing to be stroked, So anyway, with the Four of Swords, if you're not intentionally going, or if you did not go intentionally within, you may have been led to do so by outer events, and now things are popping again, and the question is, how do you respond to it? Do you just go right back into the fray, or have you learned something in this period in this respite from the action to kind of enhance your life, to take it to the next level in some way? That's the real question. The higher message is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands, I think it's associated with Sagittarius, and like I always say, there's that sunflower. It seems like Leo energy because it's royalty also. And royalty, the king and queen, to me are the embodiment of self-mastery. Meaning that the person has stepped into the highest version of themselves, and they're not relying on other people to prop them up. They have that sense of sovereignty. The queen is connected to the element of water. So with the water and fire elements mingling in this card, it's about being intuitive as well as passionate. Neither of those things are the domain of Gemini. Gemini is very much in the mind and very much about the communication and getting that information to other people. And so for Gemini to get into that vibe, you have to be willing to do more of what the Four of Swords represents, and maybe less of the Eight of Wands, of just being so busy and pulling yourself in different directions. And that is how you achieve that balance. It's funny because the last card I pull speaks on that. So there might be maybe that conflict within yourself is between the Eight of Wands energy and the Four of Swords. Do you want to be out in the world with different irons and different fires? Or do you want to be more quiet and within yourself? The North Node is in Taurus, and it's in your 12th house. So that would suggest that at this point in your life's journey, you are advised to be more like the Four of Swords. What crosses you is the Eight of Pentacles. This is a card of, in the upright position, or I'm reading it as a challenge card. In the upright position, this would be about somebody trying to do trying to perfect their craft. When it's in the challenge position, you may be kind of slacking off for some reason. Now, what I think, if some of you have been out of the workforce, and maybe the Four of Swords goes along with that, and now you're getting a bunch of offers, the Queen of Wands to me is about being very acting like you are in the driver's seat, but also being very intuitive about what is going on. Because, and I have found this out myself, just having the moon in Virgo in my case, of that, the same influence from Mercury trying to impact the intuitive process, trying to analyze, overthinking things, feel into things rather than think them. And so that might be suggesting that you're going to be entering an active period, but you don't want to sell yourself short. And you also want to see, because I'm seeing, like, even with this card, I did pick an additional card because it's just like, let me put it this way. The Four of Cups energy is a feeling of dissatisfaction. The Eight of Pentacles in the challenge position is that a person is cutting corners. They're doing things, they're doing the least amount that they can do because they're not really invested in what they're doing in the first place. And so when you have that kind of mentality, it's going to show, but it's also indicating that you're not aligned with your purpose. So think about how you feel. Don't analyze how you feel, but think about, how do I feel right now thinking about this job that I have to do? Am I passionate? Am I indifferent? The Four of Cups can be indifference. And by the way, if it is something as mild as indifference, as long as you acknowledge it, you can say, okay, well, I'm indifferent about what I'm doing currently. And now, before I didn't have many options. I felt I didn't have many options. Now I have more options. And I'm going to explore those options. But I'm going to do the best job that I can in the interim. I'm not going to cut corners. I'm not going to mail it in. That's how I see the Eight of Pentacles in the challenge position, is mailing it in. And people do that when they lose interest in what they're doing, but that, to me, energetically is not a good idea, because it suggests that unless you have the perfect circumstances, you're not going to strive for excellence. And to me, that shows kind of a conditional response to the universe. When in fact, if you're just coming from a place of positivity, you're going to still maintain a certain standard regardless. What's coming in is the Ace of Swords. This is a new direction in life that is born out of a new understanding of life. And this is, you are connected to the swords, also Libra and Aquarius, all the air signs. And it's about the mindset. Has the mindset changed? Do you have a new attitude? Also, I would say too, is that it can be cutting through lies. So for people who are separated from a partner and you're contemplating going back to them, you may realize that it's just going to be the same thing because there's nothing changing. This is what I was kind of alluding to. The Four of Cups may have somebody say that they love them, but you see that person's arms folded across their chest. They're not having any of it because either they're not into that person anymore, or they don't believe that that person is really sincere. And in both cases, that's not a good situation. So I picked an additional card, the Temperance. 1 foot in water, 1 foot in land, taking care of the material and the spiritual, and giving them both respect, rather than saying that the material is the most important thing, so you're just going to focus on that, and maybe this has to do with work matters, and then forgetting that you have that spiritual side, which can really enhance any material thing that you do. And I think even with the Eight of Pentacles, maybe that is choosing a job based on how much money it makes. I'm speaking to those Geminis who have Venus in Taurus or Mars in Taurus, and you really give the money making angle too much importance, and that leads you astray because you're not feeling that sense of fulfillment. The Queen of Wands to me is about passion and being on purpose. So think about that. Have more value. Place more value on that. And in terms of relationships, people who, you can really build a life with. Not people who are, more of an affair, people who are not willing to commit. These kinds of relationships are dead ends. Unless you're just looking for a good time, of course. If you're looking for something more permanent, then you have to look at those spiritual qualities. Look at your emotional connection with that person. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.